Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Today we're diving into the world of AI.
I know we're not talking about like the Terminator or anything.
We're talking about real-world AI and where it's headed.
Right, the AI revolution that's already happening.
Exactly.
And to help us unpack all of this, we've got 3 incredible interviews with Eamonn Darcy, courtesy of QUECWA.
Eamonn Darcy, a leading expert in AI and quantum computing.
Yeah, he really knows his stuff, and in these interviews he dives into everything from
AI ethics.
Yeah, AI ethics.
The future of jobs.
Absolutely.
And even the mind-blowing possibilities of quantum computing.
It's a lot to cover.
It is.
But that's what we're here for, right?
Exactly. We're going to break it all down.
So one of the things that struck me right off the bat was
Darcy's take on this whole fear of AI, you know.
the robots taking over the world kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, the Hollywood version of AI.
Right, because if we were really that afraid of AI, would we be investing billions of dollars into researching it?
That's a good point.
It seems kind of contradictory, right?
It does make you think.
Like, are we shooting ourselves in the foot or what?
Well, and he seems to think that we're actually much closer to AI solving some of the world's biggest problems.
Oh, absolutely. What kind of problems are we talking about here?
Well, he mentioned things like personalized medicine.
Oh.
Climate change solutions.
Wow.
Even eradicating pandemics.
Now, those are some lofty goals.
They are, but he doesn't see them as pie-in-the-sky ideas anymore.
So how do we get there then?
How do we go from AI that can play chess to AI that can cure cancer?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So Darcy breaks down how AI, powered by something called transformer architecture.
Transformer architecture.
Yeah, it's kind of a mouthful.
It is, but what is it exactly?
It's essentially the engine behind AI's ability to learn and process information.
Okay, so like how our brains use neural networks?
Exactly, but on a much larger and more complex scale.
So it's not just about mimicking human conversation anymore.
No, it's about AI actually understanding and strategizing.
Wow, okay, so now we're talking about AI that can think for itself.
In a way, yes.
And potentially even outthink us.
Well, remember that Move 37?
Move 37?
In the AlphaGo match.
Oh, yeah, where AlphaGo made that seemingly illogical move?
That turned out to be pure genius.
That was a pivotal moment in AI history.
It really was, because it showed us that AI could go beyond its programming.
And learn and adapt in ways that we couldn't have predicted.
Precisely.
Which is both exciting and a little terrifying, don't you think?
It definitely is a double-edged sword.
Because if AI can outmaneuver us in a game of Go, what else is it capable of?
Exactly. And how do we even begin to control something that's constantly learning and evolving?
Yeah, that's a big question.
And it leads us right into the crucial issue of AI ethics.
Okay, ethics.
Which Darcy emphasizes throughout these interviews.
So what's his take on all of this?
Well, he talks about the need for what he calls guardrails.
Guardrails?
Yes, both in terms of hardware and software.
To prevent the misuse of AI.
That's exactly.
Because let's face it, there are always going to be bad actors out there.
It's unfortunate.
But true. People who want to use AI for their own selfish or even dangerous purposes.
And the ethical dilemmas don't stop there.
Oh, no.
Darcy even delves into the complexities of AI in the sex industry.
Wow, I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, it's not something we typically associate with artificial intelligence.
But it's a real thing.
It is. We're talking about AI companions that can offer comfort companionship.
Then more.
Yes, and that's where things get really tricky, ethically speaking.
How do we navigate that?
It's a question that's going to require a lot of thought and discussion.
No doubt about it.
And it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Because just as we're wrapping our heads around AI as we know it...
Darcy throws us another curveball.
Oh, what's that?
Quantum computing.
Ah, yes. The game changer.
He calls this AQ, right?
He does.
And from what I gathered, it's going to completely revolutionize AI as we know it.
Think of it this way. If AI is a powerful engine, then quantum computing is the high-octane fuel.
That's one way to put it.
It's going to send AI into overdrive.
Give me some specifics.
Well, quantum computers can solve complex problems in seconds.
Seconds.
That would take traditional computers millions of years.
Millions of years. Oh, okay, now that's just mind-blowing.
It is a completely different level of processing power.
So we've got this incredibly powerful technology on the horizon.
But what does it actually mean for us?
For everyday people.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. How does this impact our lives?
Well, Darcy seems to make a distinction between what he calls routine AQ
Routine AQ?
and disruptive AQ.
Okay, I'm listening.
Essentially, he's drawing a line between how companies and organizations can use AI to simply streamline their existing operations,
Right.
which is the routine aspect,
Got it.
versus how they can leverage AI to completely revolutionize their industries and create something entirely new.
So, which is the disruptive part.
Exactly.
It's like we're talking about two different worlds here.
In a way, we are.
On one hand, you've got AI making our current systems a bit more efficient.
Right.
And on the other hand, you've got AI creating entirely new possibilities.
It's the difference between using a calculator and inventing a teleportation device.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good analogy.
And as you can imagine, those new possibilities come with a whole new set of challenges.
Oh, I'm sure, like, what kind of challenges are we talking about?
Well, think about it for a second. We're not just talking about AI as a tool anymore.
Right.
We're talking about it as a collaborator, even potentially a competitor.
Okay, now that's an interesting thought.
It is, and it brings us to a question that I think a lot of people are wondering about.
Yeah.
Jobs.
Ah, the million-dollar question, will robots take our jobs?
It's the question on everyone's mind.
Because it's one thing to talk about these amazing advancements.
Right.
Curing diseases, solving climate change.
Exactly.
But if people are worried about putting food on the table...
It's hard to focus on anything else.
Exactly. So what does Darcy have to say about all of this?
Well, he doesn't sugarcoat it.
Okay.
He actually predicts a massive job displacement wave in the coming years.
Okay. How massive are we talking about here?
As many as 100 million jobs lost globally.
100 million.
In the next year alone.
Whoa, okay, that's a staggering number.
It is, and it's easy to think, oh, this is just going to affect blue-collar workers.
Right, the ones in factories and stuff?
Exactly, but Darcy argues that it's going to impact everyone.
Everyone.
From blue-collar workers to white-collar professionals.
So no one is safe.
He's particularly concerned about educators and those in information-based roles.
Really? Why is that?
Well, he uses this really interesting analogy. He says, imagine trying to teach Einstein about physics.
Okay.
The AI, with its access to vast amounts of data and processing power.
It's going to be way more effective.
Exactly. It's like having a superpowered teacher in every classroom.
So what does that mean for all the teachers out there?
It's a good question, and it's something that we need to be thinking about now.
Because if AI can do all these things better and faster than us, what role will humans play in this new world?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's one that Darcy doesn't shy away from.
Okay, so what's his take?
Well, he actually sees this as an opportunity.
An opportunity.
Yes, he calls it the epoch of abundance.
The epoch of abundance. Okay, I like the sound of that, but what does it actually mean?
Essentially, he's talking about a future where AI handles all the drudgery.
The boring stuff.
Exactly. The repetitive tasks, the dangerous jobs, the things that we don't necessarily want to do.
So robots do all the work, and we just get to sit back and relax.
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Okay.
But he does envision a world where our basic needs are met.
Okay.
And we're free to pursue our passions.
Now that does sound pretty utopian.
It does, and Darcy acknowledges that it won't be without its challenges.
Like what kind of challenges?
Well, he talks about the potential for social unrest.
Right. People not knowing what to do with all their free time.
Exactly, and he even mentions the possibility of increased drug use.
Oh, why?
As people struggle to find meaning in a world without traditional work.
Yeah, idle hands are the devil's workshop, right?
Exactly. But despite all of that,
Yeah.
Darcy still seems optimistic about the future.
Does he?
He argues that humanity has always found ways to adapt and overcome adversity.
We're a pretty resilient species when you think about it.
We are. We've faced down some pretty terrifying threats in the past.
And we're still here.
Exactly. So there's hope yet.
Yeah, okay, I like that attitude. But even if we manage to overcome all of these challenges,
Yeah.
there's still this fundamental question of what do we do with all this free time?
It's a question that speaks to our very identity as human beings.
It is, because for so long, our work has defined us.
It's given us purpose and structure.
Exactly. So what happens when that's gone?
Well, Darcy seems to think that in a world of abundance, the importance of individual purpose becomes even greater.
So it's up to us to find our own meaning.
Exactly.
It's like we're being handed this incredible gift.
All this freedom, all this potential.
It's also a bit overwhelming, isn't it?
It is. It's like stepping into uncharted territory.
Exactly. And we don't have a map.
And that's where Darcy's message really resonates.
Oh, how so?
He's not just talking about technological advancements.
Right.
He's talking about a fundamental shift in how we view ourselves and our place in the world.
So instead of fearing AI,
We should be embracing it.
Exactly. He wants us to see this as an opportunity to unlock human potential.
To redefine what it means to be human in the age of AI.
Precisely.
And he specifically mentions artists.
He does. He seems to believe that they'll benefit tremendously from this epoch of abundance.
Okay, why is that?
Well, imagine a world where artists don't have to worry about money.
Okay.
Where they can fully dedicate themselves to their craft.
It's like a dream come true for any artist.
Exactly. It's a world where creativity could truly flourish.
It's like AI could usher in a new renaissance.
Freeing us from the mundane so we can pursue higher callings.
And it's not just about art. Think about scientific exploration, social entrepreneurship,
right?
Even space travel.
All these fields could be completely transformed.
Exactly, because we'd have the time and resources to really push the boundaries of what's possible.
It's an exciting thought. But let's be real for a second.
Not everyone is cut out to be an artist or a scientist.
That's true.
What about the people who find fulfillment in more traditional jobs?
Right.
The ones who like the structure of a 9-to-5 workday?
It's a valid concern. And to be honest, Darcy doesn't offer any easy answers.
So what does he suggest?
Well, he does touch on the possibility of a universal basic income.
A universal basic income?
Yeah, essentially everyone would receive a guaranteed income regardless of whether they have a job or not.
Okay, so instead of getting a paycheck, we all get a check from the government.
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, but you get the idea.
It's a radical concept when you think about it.
It is, but it's one that's being seriously considered by some as a way to address the potential for mass unemployment.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around.
It is. And I think the key takeaway here is that we need to start having these conversations now.
Before it's too late.
Exactly. Because the future that Darcy describes is closer than we think.
And it's a future where we have the power to shape our own destinies.
To decide what kind of world we want to create.
A world where AI is not something to be feared, but a tool to help us achieve our full potential.
Exactly.
So as you go about your day, as you think about your own work and your own aspirations.
Consider this. If AI could free you from the constraints of your current job, what would you do with that freedom?
What hidden talents or passions would you pursue?
What would your life look like if the possibilities were truly limitless?
It's a question worth pondering.
It is.
And on that note, that's it for this week's Deep Dive.
A huge thank you to Eamonn Darcy and QUECWA for the thought-provoking interviews.
And as always, thank you for listening.